Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Firstly, I'm happy to see my OBs and OGs. I was at Makerere Law School a couple of years ago. Right Honourable Speaker, I have two matters for your quick procedural guidance. One is something that I've raised severally, and I'm not about to tire because you gave some direction. On 31st January this year, the Supreme Court issued a ruling to the effect that the military courts have got no jurisdiction over civilians. We have tasked government here severally, which committed to transfer those files to civilian courts.
Help me.
And that does not seem to be happening, Right Honourable Speaker. I raised it again, and government promised that they were ready for Thursday. I've not seen it on the order paper. I don't know what the matter could be, because there are people who are still being held in jail because of decisions of court martials which have no jurisdiction over them. We want to know, and we'll not get tired of asking this question: when is government going to transfer those files? Or has it chosen to be in contempt of court? It's important that we know, because, and you guided on that matter, Right Honourable. And finally, Right Honourable Speaker, we have processed and have been processing the ministerial policy statements. The budget committee is now handling, and the process is still on. Of course, as and when some information does come, it's good that we raise it for government to take note, because this budget process is still ongoing. Right Honourable Speaker, it has become obtrusive that government continues to use and occupy vital national installations without paying rent to landlords. And it's very worrisome. In 2013, government returned a number of properties to the Kabaka of Buganda and Buganda Kingdom, for that matter. And what was meant to happen thereafter, government was either meant to begin paying rent or to compulsorily acquire, as provided for in Article 26 of the Constitution, which says before you compulsorily acquire, you should pay what is fair, adequate, and you should do it promptly. It's now about 12 years. And so there's a couple of these installations that government continues to occupy: Makinde Military Barracks, Makinde Court Martial, Kigo Prisons, Katabi Air Force School Land, Bukakata Air Force School Land, 70 prisons built by Buganda Kingdom, courts of judicature, local government structures and headquarters, part of the land at Mbuya Barracks, electric power transmission lines going through some of this land, and so on and so forth. Honourable Speaker, the debt that government owes to the Buganda Kingdom through these and other properties is 529.7 billion shillings. However, the chief government valuer has so far verified 160 billion shillings of this. But even this 160 billion shillings has not been paid to date, despite numerous reminders of the same. The budget does not reflect this year after year. And here is the worry, Right Honourable Speaker. The landlord can very potentially sue government, and then government will be condemned to costs, and then we'll have unnecessary legal battles over matters that can be dealt with amicably. Honourable Speaker, government has offered 60 million shillings to the Kabaka of Buganda and other cultural leaders as a monthly salary. I have it on good authority that the Kabaka of Buganda has never picked this salary. In fact, according to the Kingdom administration, they're saying, you pay us what you owe us, then the salary will not be a big issue, the 60 million shillings. Honourable Speaker, government has on numerous occasions sent URA to demand 3 billion shillings in taxes from the Kingdom establishment, yet the same government owes the Kingdom over 500 billion shillings. The Kingdom is engaged in several projects, such as building schools, hospitals, universities, tertiary institutions, and recently a hospital was opened in commemoration of the Kabaka's 70th birthday. The Kingdom recently gave out tractors to all 18 counties of Buganda. When government holds back this money, it's frustrating these developmental projects by the Kingdom. Honourable Speaker, does government know about these concerns? And if so, what steps are being taken to remedy the situation? I'm glad the Attorney General is here. Hopefully he could have a response for us on this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney General.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I thank the Right Honourable Leader of Opposition for raising this issue. One, I am fully seized with this matter. because I chair that committee personally. So unless I hear from the people you speak of, whom I engage with regularly on these issues, I'd rather you leave that to us, because I have not received any complaint from the kingdom in the way I am handling this matter. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, I am fully seized with this matter.
Who hear
Point
that?
of order.
Daddy, who hear that?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I had honestly expected the Attorney General to talk to us about steps being taken to remedy the situation, but he seems to say, I have got no say on this matter. We are the ones who appropriate, and this is taxpayers' money we are talking about. Government is occupying these properties. Government is not an individual entity belonging to anyone. We are all part of government. So when we raise these matters, you cannot say it is none of your business. The people who we should pay, they are comfortable. Surely is the Attorney General in order to say that we cannot raise a matter, because what's for sure is that these monies have not been paid over time. As leaders, we have a right to raise these matters. The same way we have been raising, by the way, government has got domestic arrears to the tune of 14 trillion shillings. Ugandans who have given government services, products, they have borrowed from government to do business, from banks, and government is not paying them. So when we raise these issues, you cannot say we are engaging the people we are meant to pay for them, they are comfortable, you, it's none of your business. It is our business, because this is not your money, it's taxpayers' money. Is he in order, Right Honorable Speaker?
Thank you. Now, both you and the Attorney General are right. Yeah, both of you are right. You are right as a member of Parliament and as a leader to raise issues for your people. But then the Attorney General says, I'm in touch with these people, okay? And now you cannot dispute what he's telling you, because he's in touch with them. Okay, so now I don't know what would be wrong with Attorney General saying I'm in touch with these people. And some of the things you can say, colleagues, listen, some of these things you can say here, others you can't say. You engage. I know also I've been involved on these matters, by the way. These matters of Uganda. I've been involved when it comes to their payments. I know a lot of discussions are going on. So maybe they've chosen two routes. A route of going through our colleagues and a route of engaging government. I hope we should meet at the center and we ensure we solve this issue. That's what is critical. Okay? Yeah. So Attorney General, so since both of you are correct, you both listen to each other.
So thank you very much. Now that we are both correct, I can assure you we are handling this matter, and we have the things that I do not want to discuss here, we are handling the matter.
We are handling the matter.
I will check on how many files have been transferred and what has not been transferred.
The Minister for Justice had confirmed that he was ready, Honorable Mao. So I don't want the Attorney General to carry that burden.
That's why I'm going to check and remind him to come back and advise the House.
Right Honorable, I am restraining myself not to say that senior counsel here is taking Parliament for a ride. Perhaps him and the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, because that's been the same response every time we raise this matter, week after week. We shall check and update you. When does the update get to happen? Because they told us for sure Thursday we shall be ready. Initially, they talked about Wednesday. Then as Wednesday was approaching yesterday, they asked for Thursday. Why are we being taken for a ride, Right Honorable Speaker?
Yes, can I request Attorney General or Government Chief Whip to get in touch with the Minister, can bring in the statement as we are still here. Okay, then I give it space. And if he has it ready, even if he's not around, but he has it signed, the Attorney General can present it on his behalf, like we did for Internal Affairs. So Government Chief Whip, Honorable Bahat, Acting Government Chief Whip, please kindly help us on that. Yeah, thank you. Honorable colleagues, item 4, you remember
Mr. Speaker, sir, this statement is long overdue, but we have always had it ready, waiting for your guidance. It is in two parts, starting with the status of the Uganda People's Defense Forces Amendment Bill. Because the Supreme Court ruling also made recommendations on the need to amend the law, and in addition, made a ruling on the need to transfer cases to civilian courts. The Uganda People's Defense Forces Amendment Bill has been drafted by the Directorate of the First Parliamentary Council and was forwarded to the Ministry of Defense and Veterans Affairs for scrutiny and comments. In the event that the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs is satisfied with the contents of the bill, they will submit the bill to Cabinet for approval prior to its presentation in Parliament. It is important to note that the Uganda People's Defense Forces Amendment Bill 2024 was withdrawn by the Honorable Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs. The law has now been revised to take into consideration issues that were raised by the Supreme Court in the case of Attorney General versus Honorable Michael A. Kabaziguruka, Constitutional Appeal number 2 of 2021. The revised bill takes into consideration the structure of the courts martial, persons subject to military law, exceptional circumstances under which a civilian may be subject to military law, arms and ammunition, which are the monopoly of the defense forces, and classified stores and appeals from the courts martial to the civilian courts. Part 2, the status on the number of cases received by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. You'll recall that via a letter dated 4th February 2025, the Honorable Attorney General, in his advice to, among others, the Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs, Director of Public Prosecutions, guided that A, the General Court Martial, in liaison with the prisons authorities, should provide a list of all criminal cases involving civilians pending before the General Court Martial for onward transmission to the courts to determine the appropriate court to handle the matters. The General Court Martial should provide a list of all pending criminal cases involving members of the UPDF pending before the court martial that fall within the categories of transfer for onward transmission to the courts to determine the appropriate courts to handle the matter. And C, the Director of Public Prosecution liaises with the General Court Martial and the UPDF leadership to take over conduct of the ongoing criminal trials that have been identified for transfer. Pursuant to the advice, the Uganda Prison Authority did submit a list of 423 cases as advised by the Honorable Attorney General via a letter dated 6th February 2025 of the prisoners remanded by the courts martial. Further, we are in receipt of information that the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions has received 45 cases from the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs. The Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs is still preparing to submit other criminal cases to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution as advised, and we will, at the earliest, update this August House when this is done. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Rob.
Honorable Speaker, this statement has been long overdue. I am disappointed that this statement really does not capture the gist of what we were inquiring. Because, as the Minister does concede in this statement, files were meant to be transferred to civilian courts. There's no update on that in this statement, because the update there is that the Uganda Prisons Authority did submit a list of 423 cases. But there's no update on where these files submitted to the civilian courts, because that has been our question. So for Uganda prisons to submit to whoever, whether it be to Ministry of Justice, whether it be to Ministry of Defense, or to whoever, and so on, that's a process which is not even a very big concern to us. The big concern to us is transferring these civilian cases, these files, to civilian courts. And Honorable Speaker, there is no mention of that in this statement. So it does not comfort us when the Minister says, well, Uganda prisons submitted a list of 423 cases as advised by the Attorney General. To where? Because what we want is these files are not us. It is a decision of the Supreme Court that these files get to be submitted to civilian courts. That's what we want to hear about, and it is not captured by this statement. If anything, this statement actually it creates a precarious situation, which might be contradicting Article 92 of our country's constitution, which says Parliament cannot pass any law to alter the decision of a court. So I don't know if that's the intention of the minister when he begins by telling us, well, we are working on the UPDF amendment bill. It's as if to say the concerns we are raising are going to be addressed by the bill which is going to be brought to Parliament. And that's very problematic. So, Right Honourable Speaker, I want to beseech you and insist that we get a proper update on the transfer of the civilian files to civilian courts. That's what we want to know about.
Yes.
Why has it taken long?
Yes.
When is it going to happen? This statement here is very insufficient, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Now I don't know what I will do. Because no, can I allow a few more? Then you felt you want to answer this one quickly. Okay, first answer this.
No, Joero Mujezi. Pamita Joero Majezi.
Speaker, sir, the Right Honourable Leader of Opposition is a lawyer. These are criminal suspects. They have to be prosecuted by the government. I hope this Parliament is persuaded that the courts martial are no longer going to be the one to try these people. I wish to state the challenges we are facing. A team of 7 was appointed to traverse various areas where the army courts are. Now, the structure of the courts martial is the General Court Martial, which sits here in Makindi. We have got the unit disciplinary committees that are in the front line. People who have been in the army, like the Honorable Sewungu, who was in the military police. No, clearly, because the military police is the one that arrests soldiers who have offended the law. So, apart from the unit disciplinary committee, we have got division courts martial. And then we have the court martial appeal court. Some of these courts are in the field. Mr. Speaker, let me share some of the challenges that we have faced and which have been reported. There are cases that had been substantially had and the exhibits had been handed over. Now, that means the exhibits are already in the courts. They have to be retrieved. Number 2, for some of the cases, the exhibits were perishable. Number 3, some of the offenses were committed outside Uganda, Mr. Speaker. Some of these offenses were committed in Somalia, in DRC, South Sudan, Equatorial Guinea. These are technical challenges that we are facing. My duty was to report that so far 45 cases are with the DPP. Now, to prosecute a case you have not investigated is a challenge, Mr. Speaker. Imagine those who investigated these cases was the army. Now the DPP has to take over these cases. It is not deliberately slow, but it has got to be thorough. Lastly, the 423 cases is for the information of members to know that the files that have been handled by the courts martial and where people have been remanded in our prison services number 423. We can even put that and juxtapose it with the overall information of the criminal justice system, Mr. Speaker. As of 12th January 2025, the criminal suspects that are undergoing trial in the whole of Uganda in 254 courts are 25,397. And criminal suspects on remand without trial are 12,893. This is for the information of Parliament. For the first time, Mr. Speaker, the number of those on remand is fewer than those on trial. This has not been the case. And we should give some credit to the courts for their efforts to balance this. Now, as a proportion of the whole population of Uganda, for those who talk as if everybody in Uganda is in jail, because when people are talking, they talk as if like 20% of Ugandans are in prison. The people in prison in Uganda are about 38,000.
Oh.
Every society has bad eggs. And I want to promise, Mr. Speaker, that we shall be updating Parliament. But the allegation that we are deliberately moving slowly is an allegation that government denies.
Thank you. Now, Lop raised the issue of the information being insufficient. I've seen, Honourable Minister, you have more information in your head, but which you've not yet put on paper. So kindly go update this statement, give us more information. House adjourned, sign die.
Bamuyita lopu jolo Senyonyi. Ebyokwogera bibabula ne basalawo batugetegete. Ne batugetageta n'ebigaano tugetageta. House adjourned and die. Kakazubu ka Parliament kenyogedde temunsekerera.